What up, YouTube? This is Bell, and today I present to you, beautiful gamers, my Gemling Minions army. There's something seriously wrong with the Gemling right now. He can do a lot of things better than most classes. That's why the cult of the Gemling is a thing.
The power of prayer can change the world. It makes miracles happen, every boy and girl.
Now, let me show you nerds what this beautiful build is all about. This is the official version that I'm showing you guys, and it's more balanced through damage and defenses, and the game doesn't lag or glitch all the time like it does if we play with 55 snipers. But the sniper army variant is a lot of fun to play. I think it's less viable, but it's a lot of fun to play. And I'll make a chapter only talking about it. So how do we scale minion damage? Plus to all minion skills plays a huge part on scaling its damage, so try to get the best roll as possible on scepters, amulets, and helmets. Note that I use trench chamber, what else, on boss fights to get a +3 to all minion skill, and it's a huge scaling of the damage. It's ridiculous. It's plus 10k on each minion. Stacking spirits, very important. Minions deal damage by numbers. So the more minions, the more damage. And if you don't have enough minions, you won't deal enough damage. So the more spirits, the best. So that's why on your scepter, amulets, shields, and body armor, you should focus on spirit. When I say shield, it's the unique Oaksworn shield. Plus, in the next patch, there is gonna be a shield that gives +1 spirit to 50 health. Yeah. But it's not out yet. So I do love the combo of snipers and reavers for damage, as I did on my Infernalist Witch. But in here, I don't have the Hellhound, so I had to adapt some things. The reason why I chose the Gemling is because of his Ascendancy passives. Notable that gives plus quality to skills, and other minor passives that also gives more quality to skill gems, makes it so that our snipers cost a lot less. They cost 28 spirits each, I think. That allows us to have a lot of sniper and scale a lot of damage. On the reavers, it increases the effect of rage, which is also good, but I don't think it's a huge difference. The other one is implanted, giving +1 to level of all skills, so it's one more level for minion skills. And gem studded, allowing us to use 2 copies of the same support gem. That's what allows us to put the good support gems on both their snipers and the reavers. What are the good support gems? Martial Tempo, Heft, and Brutality. These 3 support gems are very strong on minions. I have a little difference between Feeding Frenzy for the snipers and Bloodlust for the reavers, because the reavers, their melee don't take 20% more damage on them, and Bloodlust gives the same damage as Feeding Frenzy. As for the snipers, they're ranged, they can deal with this. Then the other difference, the snipers have Immolate and the reavers have Splinter. Splinter I used to have on my Hellhound, as I don't have it anymore, I put it on the reavers. You can put it on Raging Spirits, but I think it just takes too long to break armor, but you can. So, as I said, the Raging Spirits are here more for support, so they have Lacerate, Fire Infusion, a bit of damage, Feeding Frenzy, Fire Exposure, and Fire Mastery. So, how do we survive? How are our defenses on this build? The Gemling doesn't have access to all the energy passive nodes that the Witch does because he starts very far from the Minions node, so he has to make a huge travel to get there. So that'll leave us with around 5k energy shield plus Green Feast, which is good enough, which is very okay. Enough to survive, and only bosses can one-shot you, but you one-shot them first, so no problem. Get elemental resistances from Venter's Gamble and some chaos resist from wherever you want. I don't really care much about chaos resistances. For me, with this much energy shield, you gotta jump in front of pretty rare enemies or bosses to kill yourself. That's the only way you'll die. Now, let's go over our skill gems and support gems. First, I'm gonna go over a general overview of the skills. Reavers and Snipers, as I already said. Then we have Pain Offering, which is pretty much obvious by now, but if you haven't played Minions, Pain Offering increases Minions' damage, sacrifices one minion to increase the other's damage. Then I have Bone Offering. Why do I have Bone Offering? Two reasons. One, I have another font of Rage here, which allows the minions to stack Rage faster and more rapidly. Also, I took this passive skill, I took Lust for Sacrifice as a passive skill, because it increases the minion damage by 40%, and as we have a lot of minions, then it's worth sacrificing one more to get this buff on all of them. Then, we have Eye of Winter, crit vulnerability, Skeletal Storm Mage for shocking our enemies, Raging Spirits have Lacerate to deal bleed and let the Reavers deal damage with Bloodlust. Flame Wall to summon Raging Spirits, Grim Feast because yeah. Blink I only use on Sakamans, that's the idea, but if you do want to farm with Blink, that's your choice, you can do it. I do it, I like to farm with Blink because Minions is very slow, so Blink helps us move faster. Leap Slam is just because of Sakamas, and Blink, sometimes I do suicide by Blink. So I blink in the middle of enemies and then I can't get out of there. So I have to leap slam out of there or else I'll die. That's why I have it. Now, Unearth is just for mapping purposes, because while mapping you can raise a lot of these skeleton scorpions and there'll be meat shields. And that's it. So, support gems, as said before. Reavers and Snipers have both Martial Tempo, Heft, and Brutality. Snipers have Feeding Frenzy and Immolate. Reavers have Bloodlust and Splinter. Pain Offering, Dance Macabre, Ablation, Font of Rage, and Inspiration. Bone Offering, Font of Rage, Font of Blood, Inspiration, and Persistence. You can also put a Persistence in Pain Offering if you want. Eye of Winter with Unleash and Wild Shards, so you can get max stacks of crit vulnerability in one skill use, in one cast. Storm Mages, Conduction, Overcharge, Stormfire, and Lightning Mastery. Raging Spirits, Lacerate, Fire Infusion, Feeding Frenzy, Fire Exposure, and Fire Mastery. Unearth, Corpse Conservation, Magnified Effect, Minion Mastery, and Fire Infusion again. Flame Wall, Fortress, Arcane Tempo, and that's it. Grim Feast with nothing. Blink with Arcane Tempo, Ingenuity, and Second Wind. Leap Slam, nothing. Alright, so we have 4 unique items here, which is the Oakthorn's Shield, very cheap. Bones of Ur, very cheap. Venter's Gamble, very expensive. And Ingenuity Belt, and another Venter's Gamble. So the most expensive unique items are the Venter's Gamble and Ingenuity. These two are 1 Exalt, very easy to get. I even like to use them to level up Minions build. And Venter's Gamble is quite expensive, because the good rolls on it to get Max Spirit, and decent resistances, then you worry about rarity. They are expensive. So let's say you spend like 15 divs on each of these. While you don't have these, try to prioritize. While you don't have these rings, try to get rings with good resistances and a lot of life, because that'll give you spirit, more spirit. And rarity, of course. On the belts, I'll say the same, but my ingenuity was a low roll. I used one with 58%, and it was pretty good. I pretty much was melting everything. Later on that I got one with 70 plus, but still it's gonna go for like 10 divs. So just this part, you spend 30 divs. That's how expensive minion stuff are. Also remember that this is not much spirit, so you can get around without these items for a while. On the scepter. So scepters are obvious. Plus 2 minion skills, increase spirit, allies in your presence deal increased damage, additional damage, all that is good. Increased damage bonus or increased crit chance, these both are good for minions. Also consider getting increased attack speed here. These free, you can get any of those, of course you get like most of them better, but all these free will be very good for you. And then you can get some strength to have better life. And then I just changed this, so get more life, not more mana. You just gotta have enough mana to cast stuff. If you're bothered and you wanna have max mana to be cast everything without using potions, go for it. But more life is more survivability and a bit more spirit, so I prefer it. On the helm, you look for the highest rolls possible of energy shield, +2 to all minion skills, some intelligence to be able to use the skill gems, which level 20 requires 205 intelligence, so you need that. And try to find one corrupted with spirit or +1 to minion skills. The +1 to minion skill, making the helm have +3 to minion skills, is very expensive. I got one with spirit and it's just great. It works out fine. So if you don't want to spend that much, go with it. Amulet. This is a great source of spirit. So do get an amulet. That's this amulet because it's got implicit spirit plus a roll with spirit. You have a lot of spirit. Then the amulet gotta have +2, but it can go up to +3 to all minion skills. It just gets expensive, but a +2 is enough. The resistance you need and rarity, that's what you go for. Gloves, pretty much defensive, most energy shield possible, life, resistances, and there's dexterity here, don't know why. Go for intelligence or strength here, there's no problem. Body armor, you can get spirit out of the body armor, why don't I have it? This is seriously wrong. Here. So, on body armor, get life, spirit, as much energy shield as possible. That's why this is also energy shield. It's not maximum, it's increased, so we can have a lot of energy shield. Resistances as much as you need. Reduce attributes, fire, cold, and lightning resistance. That's what I want. So on body armors, what do we want? We want a lot of energy shield, spirit, and resistances. That's what we need. You can corrupt armor also to get some nice bonuses, but it's not a must-have. On the set 2 equipment, when you change to the Trench Chamber, which gives +3 to minions, remember that the Trench Chamber have Sokor of Ascapa, which is very, very expensive right now, sadly. Or not, if you're farming it, it's very good. But it gives +15 to spirit, and it helps to maintain your minions while also getting +3 to minions. The scepter is just the same as the other scepter, same thing. You can have 2 scepters or just come here and take off the shield and put the Trench Chamber, what else? This is insta-kill on bosses. It's very good for bosses. But for mapping or doing trials, I like to have block, it's just safer. On important jewels, Against the Darkness is very important because it gives +10 to spirit on notable passives. So you can see that I took a lot of notable passives here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 notable passives. If you want, you can come here, although this is cheating. I don't suggest this passive node. And my other role on small passives is maximum life, which is also great. This position, I think it's really ideal for against the darkness. And just a curiosity, if you want to go overkill on this build, a Prism of Belief with +3 to all sniper skills is very, very cheap. Like, come on. But if you're rich and you want to do it, it's an option. It'll make him very strong. You can also get it on Reavers, but I think the snipers are better, but the Reavers are a bit 100 divs cheaper or more, 130 cheap, 130 divs cheaper, but it's definitely not as good as. So I highly suggest, if you want this, be ready to spend money on the snipers. There, +2 is only 90 div. Cheap, very cheap. I'll buy right now. The Ascendancy passive tree, as I talked before, implanted gems, crystalline protection, integrated efficiency, all very necessary, and gem studded to get all the buffs we need from the Gemling. This sadly doesn't reduce spirit cost, I wish it did. And these ones were not stacking stacks or whatever this does. So this passive tree, we need to go around the tree to get where we want. It's a very long path, and that's an issue here. Luckily, there are 2 trees in which we get minion damage in here and in here, Resourceful Ally and 2-pronged attack, with some defenses on the start where you need. So how do you level up this skill tree? You start here on the Gemling, then you're gonna go down, get this tree, 2-pronged attack to get some minion damage, Resourceful Ally to get some more minion damage, and survivability here, and what else here? Jewels will be very important, these jewel slots, because it'll be your biggest strength while you're traveling to get to this tree where the minions really start to do something. Rush to Lord of Horrors, and then you come down and spread out. I first came to this node, then to this node, to get the minions to actually deal damage and do what they do. If you have good gear, you'll be buffed up, and even without these passives, they will deal decent damage. But the passives take a while to take effect, and that's why this is more of an end game build. So, no secret here, you go for minion passive nodes. Necrotic Touch, Lust for Sacrifice, as I explained on the skills. This is only because of the Against the Darkness. I don't think it's a very good node. But the defensive minion nodes are important, like this one. This one that I didn't get, but I want to get when I get to higher levels. I'm level 93, I'm gonna get on 96, I'm gonna get these 3. And in here, you can see a lot of minion nodes. So that's what I'm going for, no big secrets here. As I'm playing this build, I decided to sack rarity, so I went for Mahuk Saltalo's Machination. This shield increases rarity by a lot, and it allows me to have 336 Magic Find. I find myself have enough damage to kill all the monsters only on pinnacle bosses that I change for the Trench Chamber. But when I'm on normal bosses, map bosses, or even second map bosses, I don't care much. I farm with this to get more rarity and better loot. This is an expensive shield. As I said before, I have 5 Sokorovas Kappa on this build. Each one is going for 1,500 Exalt right now, but it's because the market is crazy right now. As soon as they reset, they'll be a lot cheaper for a while. But this is Magic Find on this build, which is pretty much good, allowing us to survive and allowing us to farm good stuff. So what are the downsides on this build? First of all, minions are slow. So farming with minions is slow because the minions are always behind you and they kind of don't keep up, and that's a known issue, as is the known issue with doors and corridors and that kind of stuff. And I think mostly that's the downside of this build. For me, I wish I had more energy shield, but what I have is pretty much enough. I can deal with everything, but I'll consider this another downside to this build. And of course, the last downside is the price. This build is not cheap. You spend quite some divs. Minion stuff is expensive. This is not maxed out. Maxing this out is very, very expensive. But to start this build, let's say around 20 divs, you'll get this build going pretty much good. I think even less, because you don't need the Ventur's Gamble. They're an extra. They're good, but they're an extra. So you can go with different rings and without ingenuity, and you'll still have pretty much decent spirit to deal with all the content. So about this sniper gameplay, I got up to 51 snipers. That's the max I got. If I bought stuff with more spirit, I can go even further. I've seen videos of 55 snipers, and maybe if you full stack spirits, you can get even more. But here's the stuff. It's fun, but it's not productive. So I got to 48 snipers, and I'm showing you some footage, some gameplay of it. It's cool, it's fun, but it's not optimized for minion play, because, at least in my opinion, because only snipers, you can stack a lot of stats, you can max out their damage, you can full break armor, and that just bothers me. That's why I think it's a very fun build if you want to play, if you want to have fun. But talking about optimization, the Reavers and the Snipers, in my opinion, are the best. So how do we raise our minion army? Bone of Furrow, definitely Oaksworn, and Pilgrim's Vest. My amulet is not fully stacked on spirit. I could have a bit more here. And you can get a body armor with almost 100 spirit. It can get around 90. But I'm just using this one. I have 714 spirits. Each sniper is costing me 15 spirit. You can see it here. And I'm gonna start raising them. There we go. And as far as I've seen, you can go even farther than that. My scepter does not have a lot of spirit. Scepters can have 100 more spirits than this, or 90 more, I don't know. I've seen scepters with 244 spirit. And as I said, this is very fun to play with. You can go with scatter shot with this. Also, you are warned, your game will glitch with this many sniper. The game is not optimized for this, and I don't know if any day it will be. But also, if you like game-breaking builds, this is one of them. So I think that's it, guys. That's everything I could explain about my Gemling Minion armies build. I really hope you guys enjoyed this build. Give me a feedback down below of what you thought about it, and I'll see you guys later.